Hi, today I'm talking about learning to respond, not react. So a little bit about me. I'm Carlene Lehmann. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I have a private practice located in Austin, Texas. You can visit our website at www.relationshipsmatteraustin.com to find more information about our services, and we also have information to support you on there as well. So the work that I do as a therapist is I see individuals, couples, and families, and they come to see me to increase their connection, their help with their communication, and then build cooperation within their relationships. Sometimes trust has been eroded, and so they're looking to rebuild trust. Sometimes they're just having a hard time with communication, and they trying to talk to each other, but they sort of miss each other, and then it can escalate, or they can get discouraged and just shut down and not want to talk about the topic anymore. And so they come into my office, and I help with these different situations. So today we're talking about being able to respond, not react. And when we respond, there is a pause in there. And then we're able, in that pause, to take some time and be more thoughtful, reflect on what's going on, try to get to the deeper meaning of what's going on in the situation before we start talking. So when we respond, we're able to be open-minded, and we're listening to learn from the other person. And this technique is good for any type of relationship. So whether you're a parent, or you have a partner, or a coworker, or a boss, even a stranger, that this is a good technique to use, especially in situations that are more challenging, that there's a reaction coming up, like a trigger, right? That's when we really need to focus on responding. And then when we react, we speak from emotion, and oftentimes we become defensive. So those walls come up, and we're thinking of it as more of a survival thing, not a how can we connect with the other person. There's some fear involved, some anxiety that comes up. And so we're protecting ourselves with those defenses or those walls. And when we react, we are usually losing control of the situation. We're sometimes resorting to arguing or blaming. So I love this quote. It says, when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is. And I totally agree with this, that we don't have control over other people's behavior or what they're doing, even if we wished we did, right, sometimes. But we have control over us. We have control over our behavior, and when the certain thoughts come in, we can take a break, we can pause, and that helps us have control over our part of the situation, which can directly influence how the other person behaves. So here's some more information on reacting. So I love this picture. It says that there's a person, right, that does or says something to offend us. And you know what? It may not be on purpose. It may be an accident. This often happens with our children, especially teenagers or our partners, and they're not necessarily meaning to offend us. But let's say that something does trigger us, right? And then in the reaction, we fire back. We blame, we argue, we criticize, we're losing control of the situation, and it escalates. And the next thing we know, we're feeling really overwhelmed, and the cycle, it just keeps going, right? We blame and criticize, and then if the other person is in that same mentality, then they're doing the same thing back. And before we know it, we can be yelling and screaming, and sometimes people even resort to slamming doors and things because they're wanting to feel heard. They're wanting to get the attention of the other person. They're desperately wanting the other person to hear them out and to feel like their stance and opinion matters. And it's amazing what we'll resort to as humans to get that attention, that connection. And when we can't get it in a positive way, we'll seek it out in a negative way. So in responding, when someone does something or says something that might offend us or trigger us, what we do is there is a pause in there where we can stop and we can reflect and we can give a soft answer. We can use kind words. We may need to apologize for something that we've said or done in the past. And that may be what our partner or coworker or child is telling us, like, you hurt me, or you know what, you didn't do that spreadsheet right, and I need you to go back and fix it. And so we may need to let them know, oh my gosh, okay, thank you for letting me know. I'm going to do something to fix that because it matters to me. Your feelings or the quality of work matters to me. And we can let them know that we want to resolve the issue without any drama, just by the way that we're responding. We don't have to say it exactly like that, right, with words, but just showing that we're open to hearing them out and that we're not just going to lash back at them, right? Giving them the space so they feel heard, and that helps to calm the situation, because what it does is our nervous system, there's that part of it that can go to fight or flight or freeze when it's triggered. That's the deeper part of our brain. It's sometimes called the reptilian brain or the amygdala. And when we feel threatened, that, like in the reaction, that's the part that gets triggered, and that's why we're lashing out. So in this approach, when we're softer, when we're open, when we're saying, hey, I'm here, I'm listening to you, that helps to calm down that part of our brain. And then it sends signals to the rest of our body to stay calm. And then it sends those same signals to the other people in the situation as well. So we can solve an issue without drama when we're able to respond instead of reacting. And like I said, during that pause, we are reflecting on what happened, and we're wanting to think about what we are feeling and also what the other person is feeling, what they're telling. Like, we're listening not only to the words, right, but the underlying feeling that we are sensing from them through those words. So are they upset? Are they angry? Are they frustrated? And it may not be about us. It may be about some other situation that's going on, but it's triggered in that situation. And so tuning in and sensing, oh, they're hurt, or they're frustrated, because we will respond differently based on that. So this is where we have control of ourselves and our behavior, and we can respond thoughtfully. This is where the power is, in responding, not reacting. So to focus in a little more on that pause piece, what I call the power of the pause. So we have a stimulus, right, which is anything, any thought, feeling, or behavior, whether it's coming up from within ourselves or someone else is doing something. Then if we can pause in the middle, we can just, sometimes it's okay to take 20 minutes in a situation. Like if we're in it, in the thick of it with our child or our partner, being able to say, hey, I need a break. This is getting to be too much. I'm afraid I'm going to say something that I'm going to regret, and I don't want to hurt you. So I'm going to go and take some time for myself, and I can come back in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and we can regroup and we can try this again. That not only gives you time for yourself and your nervous system to calm down, but it also role models for the other person, especially with children, that, hey, this is a tool we can use. But we need to give our bodies some time to unplug and just settle. And then we can respond instead of just reacting. We can be thoughtful during that pause and think about what it is that's going on and what would be the best outcome and how we can speak that, right? Set an intention for what it is we're wanting in that situation and relationship, and then come from that place when we talk to the other person. And it will show up in our body language too. And so they'll see we're genuine, right? We're really wanting to work through this. So here's some things to think about, right? During this whole process, another way to think about it all is that we can stop, think, and act when someone or something's going on. So in the stop, we're pausing. We can take, I recommend, at least 5 deep belly breaths. And that's where we take a deep breath through our nose, and then we hold it for a few seconds, and then we release it. And if you think about like as you're inhaling, your belly's filling up like a balloon. So you want it to expand outward as you inhale. So I'm going to do that. So let's take a minute and just do it. So I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to hold it. My belly's out like a balloon. I'm exhaling, I'm releasing, and I'm letting all the air out of my belly, just as if I was letting the air out of a balloon. So let's try that. We'll do 2 of those. All right. And you may feel a little more settled after doing that. But when we really feel frazzled, at least 5. But if you need more, take as many as you need to start to feel your body settle and calm. And so during that, you're letting your heart rate and your breathing slow down. And this helps us get into our thinking brain, our more rational part of our brain, which is the part in the front where your forehead is. It's called the prefrontal cortex. And that's the part that helps us to slow down and to be able to respond thoughtfully and with intention. Then, after we've had time to stop and help our body reset, then we want to think. And here's some guiding questions for you. So we're thinking about what's going on for us. What am I feeling? What's underneath what the other person is saying? So that's where I'm talking about it's not just the words they're using. Like if your partner says, I'm really angry with you, right? Well, they're telling us they're angry. We can hear that. But let's think, like, say our child is really upset with us and they're like, I hate you, right? So we can hear that there's anger and there may be frustration in there too with a decision that we've had to make or a boundary we've had to hold with them. And it's understandable for them to be upset about that. So we're thinking about what are they feeling so that when we act, we can respond calmly. We can let the other person know that we're interested in working together, right? That we're not enemies like sometimes our brain can tell us. When it goes to that survival place, it makes up all these stories that we're at odds and we're against each other. But really, let's remember, we're on the same team. Even if we have difference of opinion, in the end, we're wanting the same thing. So let's say you have a coworker, right? And you see going about solving a problem very differently. Well, you both want it solved, right? You both want to figure that out. You may not agree on how it's done, but you have the same goal in the end. So, and just like your partner, you may be having some issues with finances and how things are spent. The ultimate goal is you want to be able to stay within your budget. You don't want to have the stress of overspending, even if it may seem like one partner may want that. I bet you they really don't, because the stress and anguish that can come with that is not something most of us want to take on purpose, right? And so the ultimate goal is, yes, we want to be able to operate within the amount of money that we make, or we want to make more to be able to support a lifestyle that we want. And so remembering we're on the same team, we're wanting to work together. And then we may need to apologize about something if our partner or coworker or child is bringing an issue where they were hurt by us. And it may be that we see that differently, that it was an accident, right? Or we didn't do that intentionally. We didn't even realize it. You know what? Let's listen to them. Let's take them seriously. And just because we apologize doesn't mean that we did it on purpose. So we want to be able to prepare and say, I'm sorry. I did that. I'm really sorry. And what would you need me to do differently if it's not clear to us? Let's ask. Let's find out from them, because they're the one that knows themselves the best. So I like to have a response plan for those challenging moments, those times that we're especially triggered. And so you can think about the types of things that trigger you the most and have this plan in place. And for some folks, it can help to have it printed out and posted up. So when you start to have those feelings like, oh no, this is triggering me, that you can go to that piece of paper and you can see these steps, and you don't have to think about anything else in that moment. So it just what I say on here, right? It helps to have a plan to put into action when things go awry, and to be able to have that in place before these events happen. So step one is we're going to breathe deeply to slow things down, or sleep on it if needed and possible. So just like I was talking about in the stop, taking those deep breaths, this is the same thing. Step two, we want to identify objectively what has happened, what is going on in the situation. And those questions in the think that we just went over, those are the types of questions that we want to ask ourselves and reflect on and give ourselves time with it if we're not sure. Step 3, we can ask ourselves, what is the best outcome we could have in this situation? So it may not be what we want. It may not be what the other person wants, but looking at it, right, as objectively as we can and thinking, what is the best outcome we can have? And then step 4, we want to ask, how can I help make this happen? It's about me. So it's about how I can help and what I can do, not what the other person can do, right? Because we don't have control over that. We may have some influence, but we don't have direct control like we do over ourselves. And so take some time to reflect and get clear on those and take the time that you need. And you can always reassure your partner that you're taking this break and you are for sure going to come back and you're going to re-engage and you're going to have a better response because of that. So some key things to remember about all of this that we've been talking about is that we need to remember that we are the one that is a part of the solution. And that we don't want to perpetuate the problems, right? So we're going to be part of the solution, and that our behavior has a lot of influence. How we behave directly affects the situation. And yes, the other person could still get angry. They could still lash out. But if we can remain calm and centered in ourselves by taking those deep breaths, by thinking positive thoughts about how I can look for the solution, that will help to keep the situation calmer than if we join them and we start doing the same behaviors. So today we've been talking about how we can respond and not react to a situation. And that's one of the things that I help folks do when they come. We learn about other ways to communicate and strategies, and this is just one of those that I often help folks with, so that they can come to a place with whatever relationship it is, that they can build connection, that they can keep the situation calm. And yes, none of us is perfect. So don't expect that you're going to be perfect with this all of the time, right? That's not possible. We're human, and that's okay. And we can, forgive ourselves for that. And that's where the repair and the apology comes in. So we can still do something to help that situation and to fix it. But yeah, we can't go back and change what happened, but we can do something in the present to reconnect and to repair. So if you'd like help with your relationships and you're having any struggles or you're having questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer questions. I love doing this work. It's something that I'm very passionate about. And I know I've had my own growth journey learning these things. I wasn't born just knowing all of this. I've had to fumble around and have some struggles of my own and come out and learn new strategies and apply them and see that they really do work, and it really has helped improve my life. And that's why I do this work. So you can stay connected with us. You can go to the website relationshipsmatteraustin.com and you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. We also have articles and videos on our blog, and then we have other information on our services. We do individual, couples, and family counseling. And then we also do online counseling. So if you're in the state of Texas, we can counsel with you online. There's a platform where we can do it face-to-face through that, and it is confidential and HIPAA compliant. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We have lots of information on there, or you can call or email us. Our phone number is 512-994-0432, and you can email me at Carlene@relationshipsmatteraustin.com. It's been a pleasure to share this information with you today, and I hope that it's helped you in some way. And feel free to share this with others that you know can benefit from it. Please, I wish you well on your journey in your relationships. I know it can be challenging at times, but know you're not alone, okay? There is support out there if you need it. Just reach out and ask. All right, you take care.